I'd like to introduce Kristen. Kristen Warr is from UTAS, and she's a member of a citizens panel that was formed as a result of a Green Cross initiative. Some people might be aware of Green Cross. It's an international organisation set up by Mikhail Gorbachev, that's right, yeah. And the panel's been established to make recommendations on how Australia should respond to the issue of rising sea levels and refugee displacement. Kristen also has a background in sustainability education. She holds interest in the social responses to climate change that we need in Australian communities, and also to the impacts of climate change refugees entering Australian communities.
But she doesn't know how to work an Apple computer.
Go up to slideshow.
Hello, my name is Kristen Warr. I am from the School of Geography and Environmental Studies. At the school, there's much going on at the university at the moment in terms of climate change, and climate change and social justice is probably one of the more lacking in research and activities that are happening around climate change. But it is up and coming, and there are things that are going on now that are pretty exciting and moving forward and addressing this issue from the humanitarian perspective that is extremely important at this point. One of the projects that I'm working on in regard to climate change and social justice is looking at how to begin integrating climate change as a curriculum topic across the university. So we're looking at, in terms of, in the School of Management, thinking about how do we start thinking about adaptation strategies and getting entrepreneurs to think about adaptation as a new business opportunity. And we're looking at pre-service teachers and how do you include climate change as an integrative topic in primary school curriculum. And we're going across all faculties and all schools, and we're hoping to make this project a little bit bigger than it is this year, but it's been really exciting to actually put social justice on the map in terms of climate change. I could talk for ages about the uni, but I'm not going to today. I'm actually going to talk about the National People's Assembly, which Warr mentioned, and if you want to flick to the next slide. In May, I believe it was, there was an article in the Australian, the Weekend Australian, little tiny square on the bottom of the page that said, if you're interested in helping advise the government on sea level rise and human population displacement in the Asia Pacific, please send us your email and enter in these fields and things on the web. And I did, and I've never won anything in my life, and I can't believe that they emailed me and I got put on this panel. But it has been one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever participated in before. What it was, Green Cross Australia decided, they're a new organization, and they decided that the best way to get this issue on the map would be to straight away get people together in a consensus conference based on the Danish technology panels and get right to the issue of climate change being a humanitarian issue by using people. And they're coming at this from the idea that the government isn't 100% sure of what the decisions they should be making, and that people with backgrounds and understandings and communities and individual knowledges are the ones that should be advising exactly how we deal with this. So they put this call out, and they chose 14 representative people from across the nation by random selection. The panel is made up of 14 of us who age from 17 to 69. We have a retired food engineer, someone from the Anglican Church, an Indigenous woman who descended from Fraser Island, someone from the South Pacific Islands, a couple of expats. It was a really, really diverse group, and we came from each of the states and territories in Australia. So we met for the first weekend in June for a briefing weekend that was extremely intense. And it was really nice the way that it started, because we had Friends of the Earth and Oxfam as our first two presentations, and it at the start put the humanitarian face on the topic. And then over the next 2 days we heard the science of climate change, we heard about international law and refugee law, we heard about international obligations and the fact that there generally aren't any at all for Australia responding to this as a problem. We heard about human development issues, we heard about insurance strategies, we heard from a refugee lawyer. We had all kinds of experts that a steering committee put together. If you want to flip to the next slide, Warr. How the panel's actually set up is the 14 citizens, I'm not sure why it says 15, but the 14 citizens sit at the middle, and we are surrounded by a group of experts and a steering committee that helps us decide based on our questions who the experts are that we need to hear from. So the original experts for the first weekend are decided before the citizens jury gets together, and after that first weekend, we spent the latter part of it deciding what exactly we thought the big topics of this issue were. And as a group, we came up with 4 main themes, being mitigation, adaptation, population displacement management, and governance. So based on those themes, we all chose a specific area and went away for 6 weeks and researched those on an individual basis back within our own communities. And we came back for the second weekend and devised a set of questions where we had thought that the holes in the knowledge about climate change existed. So it was basically based on our understandings of what we were getting out of media, out of this process, out of our own understandings in our communities and the feedback we got. And we created a set of 24 questions that for the third weekend, the steering committee found experts, and we came together and had an entire day of interviewing an expert panel based on the questions that we'd come up with. So at the end of that session, we then immediately went into a deliberation room and worked all night, writing a set of 30 recommendations, which is now available on the web.